question. Does anyone have a question? I know sometimes after a class of this intensity, it's pretty difficult to come up with a question. But if there is one, I'd be happy to try and answer it.
Hi, Stuart, it's Paula. Yesterday you said you were tired of speaking of a particular subject, and I just wanted to ask you to be patient. Because
patience is my middle name.
I know. Sometimes you explain things differently, and sometimes I'm at a different place and I hear it and accept it differently. And so
honestly, I know people who have studied with me for 20 years that first hear it. When you're ready, you hear it. You understand?
Yes.
That's why I have to keep repeating these things, because people have to grow into them and be ready to hear them. And when that time comes, so bingo, it's like one of those cartoons, the light going off in your head, suddenly
Yes.
The whole thing falls into place. So I say I'm tired, I kid around, but I don't talk. It just comes out of me in response to questions people ask. Sometimes just the energy flows and comes out in words. And it usually touches just about everybody who's in the meditation in some way. And then through building of an inner life, one gets to a place where, bingo, okay, yes, yes. Yes, that is taking me to another level in my life. I finally have been ready to hear that. We often interfere with these things, our minds, our emotions, our tensions, insecurities interfere with really hearing what is being said to us. And that's not only with what I say, it's in conversations that people have with each other. In order to communicate with somebody else, you got to bust through your own tension and their tension. And basically what people hear is like static on a radio. They don't really hear what's being said to them. I remember years ago, I saw a play by Eugene O'Neill. I forgot the name of it. But the characters were saying this, and then a voice would say what they were really thinking that they couldn't say. And the whole play was kind of like that. And it was so much the very nature of the way people communicate with each other. What we communicate is sometimes 10% of what we really want to communicate.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's only because there's all this tension inside us. There's the lack of balance. There's all that static that runs rampant inside people that keeps us from truly communicating. And yet when we really can communicate, the best way to communicate is like the meditation class we just had, through silence, through the transmission of energy, Shakti, nurturing Shakti, that not only nurtures myself, but it nurtures everyone that comes to the meditation. Or I think everyone, not everyone, but most people. So, if I'm kidding around and I'm saying I'm getting tired, yeah, look, I also, click the view thing and I feel like a broken record, and double click on my picture. I mean, I've said that about 1,000 times already. People should just automatically do it. And I don't even know what that does, frankly. I was just told that you got to do this. So, okay.
It works, Stuart, all of it. It works.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have a question you would like to ask?
I'll ask something, Stuart. Rudy was talking about, you know, this is lineages, lifetimes. I mean, you talk about it of breaking through, like not just our tension, but ancestral, you know, really for a long time. So it's this patience piece, yet in the moment, there's the ever-present state of enlightenment. So can you just discuss, you know, the benefit in the current, like of now, even though it can take a long time?
You know, look, you get down to the reality of it. When everybody's enlightened, everybody's connected to God, everybody is alive because of spirit, but most of us live about a football field behind ourselves. We live in the shadow of ourselves, and we wind up in the shadow of ourselves because, you know, the tension, the insecurity, the problems we have inside ourselves that force us to not live in a state of enlightenment, because, you know, the very nature of what goes on and the chaos that goes on inside most people keeps them from living in the present, in the moment, in a state of enlightenment. That's why one has to work on themselves, is so that we can catch up to ourselves. You understand? We can catch up to the moment, to the present, build a system inside that enables us to do this. It's really a kind of a tragic state of affairs because, you know, people are basically living, you know, manifestations of God's energy. At the same time, most of life is run according to the dictates of the mind, the ego, the emotions, sexual energy. And those dictates keep us from truly being enlightened. They create a lot of tension, a lot of anxiety, a lot of problems for people. First of all, because they're not used consciously inside ourselves. You know, they're almost always used as a way of connecting with the external world. And that, you know, creates a lot of problems. So yes, everybody is a child of God. Everybody's a manifestation of God's energy. You know, but people live, you know, some a football field, some couple of miles, some across the country from where they are, based upon how much chaos is inside them. So I think, I used to meet a lot of people. I don't meet them anymore, thank God, who used to tell me, oh, I don't have to do anything. I live in the Guru's grace. I'm just enlightened. You know, and you look at them and, you know, there was kind of a glaze over their eyes. They were not happy, but they were told that they live in the grace of the Guru, but they never do a thing to work on themselves, to honor the Guru and to honor the Shakti coming out of the Guru, the grace coming out of the Guru. And I mean, it was always a very scary proposition to hear people say that. When I first heard it, I would go back and say, look, schmuck, you know. And then I said, Stuart, it's not worth it. They're not going to hear you anyway. You know, let them find out. Let them go through their life and find out. But there is this kind of mentality that I don't have to work on myself because I am enlightened. And, you know, to honor the teacher, to honor God, to honor the Guru, to honor your family, your friends, To truly learn how to live in the moment, a human being has to begin to make up the difference from where they are to living in the moment, living in the present. And that's the work of meditation. That's spiritual practice. And that practice brings us there. It gets us closer and closer and closer, to truly living in the moment, being enlightened, being a child of God consciously, and not just saying, I'm a child of God, I don't have to do anything about myself. All of that is essential in the process of inner work and growth. And as I say all the time, is recognizing our limitations. And by recognizing them, doing something about them to build the kind of system I'm talking about. And there's nothing to be ashamed of or guilty of that you live a football field behind God, It's the work. It's just a reminder of the work we have to do in order to make up the distance, to get closer to that state of enlightenment. To assume one is enlightened and you don't have to do anything about yourself is really the byproduct of probably being pretty much insane. Because what? Then he's telling people, I am God. We were sitting in a lecture that this guru was giving with Rudy. He was sitting right behind me. And he was talking about how the guru is God. The guru is God. He went on for an hour about the guru being, and in the middle of it all, Rudy whispered in my ear, Stuart, at best, the guru is the servant of God and the servant of his student. It's the best he can do. And it really, it was a moment where I had to hear that because it struck such a deep nerve inside me. It changed me. That what he whispered in my ear just changed me. And then he told me after I taught my first class, he said, next year in Big Indian, first I'll teach, then you'll teach, and then we'll show cartoons. That was also an enlightening moment for me to know that I can be replaced by Bugs Bunny. So I shouldn't take this too serious. I shouldn't let my ego get involved. Really. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? And yes, there were times I let my ego get involved, and I frankly can tell you my life became a nightmare. Became a nightmare. And I discovered the less of me doing this, the more there is of God and the healthier the situation is. Does anyone else have a question they would like? And I think one should remember this, what Rudy said, the best that any of us can do is to be the servant of the people we love and a servant of God. That's the best we can do. And it probably is the highest point of human existence, arriving at that place, because you have to be in a state of complete surrender to do this. You have to be in a state of nothingness to do this. And that's not only with your guru, your teacher, it's with your family, your friends, with everybody. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, and again, as I end this, bless you all and thank you. And I mean, I think it's a great miracle that we can all sit here for an hour and a half, and have this kind of connection with each other. God bless you all for being here and demanding of me. I need to be demanded of. And this meditation practice that we do here really makes its demands. And I must admit, in the last year, I have grown enormously doing this with all of you. So thanks, and God bless you all. And there'll be meditation on Wednesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you very much, Stuart.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.